All right, gather round, folks, because today we are diving headfirst into one of the most epic, most unexpected, and frankly, most awesome crossover ideas that has ever graced the internet. You see that image? The one with She-Hulk looking absolutely formidable, cracking her neck with that classic smirk and a hulking, monstrous version of Ben Cat growling back? That single frame sent my imagination into overdrive, and I know I'm not alone. So, let's break it down. What would a full-blown series or movie about She-Hulk versus a Hulkified Ben Cat actually look like? First, let's set the stage. We have Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk. She's not just a powerhouse. She's a brilliant lawyer, witty, charismatic, and fully in control of her green-skinned alter ego. She breaks the fourth wall. She's self-aware, and she navigates the superhero world with a unique blend of strength and sass. Her world is a mix of courtroom drama, superpowered brawls, and dating woes. She's relatable, even when she's throwing a car. Then, we have Ben Cat. Now, for those who might not know, Ben Cat is an internet icon, a meme legend. He's this perpetually grumpy-looking cat who's famous for his gruff, monosyllabic responses. Ben. Ho, ho, ho. No. He's the embodiment of feline indifference and curmudgeonly charm. He's already a character, a personality that millions of people recognize and love for his simple, direct, and often dismissive attitude. Now, imagine these two worlds colliding, but not just any collision. We're talking about a gamma radiation level event. What if Ben Cat was exposed to some sort of gamma energy? Maybe he accidentally wanders into a lab experiment gone wrong, a classic comic book origin. Or perhaps a vial of Bruce Banner's blood sample gets knocked over and, well, you know how cats are. They get into everything. Suddenly, this grumpy, unimpressed cat transforms into the incredible Ben Cat, a towering, fur-covered behemoth with all the grumpiness of his original form, magnified 1,000 times over, and now with the strength to level a city block. The initial encounter would be pure gold. Picture this. She-Hulk is in the middle of a typical day. Maybe she's just won a major case. She's feeling good. She heads home to her apartment, and she finds it completely wrecked. Not just messy, but like a bulldozer went through it. And in the middle of the chaos, there's this giant hulking cat just sitting there, looking thoroughly unimpressed, maybe grooming a massive paw. She-Hulk, ever the professional, would try to handle it with words first. Okay, big guy, let's talk about this. Who are you, and why is my new sofa now 3 smaller, less comfortable sofas? And what does he reply? He just stares at her, a low growl rumbling in his chest, and then, in a deep, gravelly voice, he just says, "No." The sheer comedic potential is off the charts. She-Hulk, who can trade blows with the Thing, is now faced with an adversary whose primary weapon is weaponized apathy. She'd try to reason with him, to fight him, to outsmart him, and he would meet every attempt with a simple grumpy no or a dismissive grunt before swatting a lamppost out of his way like it was a pesky fly. This isn't just about a physical fight, it's a battle of personalities. She-Hulk's energetic, fourth-wall-breaking style versus Ben Cat's stoic, unmovable grumpiness. Imagine She-Hulk trying to deliver a powerful, inspiring monologue to the audience, explaining her plan, and Ben Cat just yawns, a giant, cavernous yawn that literally creates a gust of wind, knocking her off balance. "Are you even listening to me?" she'd yell, and he'd just turn his head slowly and mutter, "Ben." The central conflict could be anything. Maybe Ben Cat just wants to be left alone to take a nap, but his naps cause seismic tremors. Maybe he's constantly searching for a giant ball of yarn, and his search is causing citywide destruction. She-Hulk's goal wouldn't be to defeat him in the traditional sense, but to manage him. How do you stop a force of nature that doesn't want to fight, doesn't want to conquer, but just wants to be a cat, albeit a very, very large and destructive one? We could bring in other characters, too. Imagine Daredevil, the man without fear, trying to use his heightened senses to understand Ben Cat, only to be overwhelmed by the sheer volume of his purr, which sounds like a freight train. Or what about Titania, She-Hulk's classic rival? She shows up for a fight, ready to prove she's the strongest, and Ben Cat just ignores her completely, more interested in a flickering laser pointer dot that someone is shining on a building. Titania's ego would be shattered more effectively than any punch could. The narrative arc would be about Jennifer Walters learning a new kind of responsibility. It's one thing to fight supervillains with clear motives. It's another thing entirely to be the reluctant caretaker of a gamma-powered grump. She'd have to use her brains more than her brawn. She'd be on the phone with pet behavior specialists, gamma scientists, and maybe even Dr. Strange to see if there's a magical solution for a cat who's eaten a mystical artifact he thought was a cat treat. The action scenes would be incredible. Not just city-smashing brawls, but creative, hilarious sequences. She-Hulk trying to lure Ben Cat away from a nuclear power plant using a giant dangling fish on a crane. A chase scene where Ben Cat is just trying to fit into a giant cardboard box, causing chaos in the process. The classic cat knocking things off a shelf trope, but the shelf is a skyscraper. And through it all, we'd get that wonderful She-Hulk commentary. She'd turn to the camera, exhausted, covered in dust and maybe a bit of cat hair, and say, "You know, I've fought literal gods and cosmic entities. But this is something else. My biggest challenge is a cat who refuses to use the giant, custom-built, city park-sized litter box I got for him. Is this my life now?" Ultimately, the resolution wouldn't be a big fight. It would be She-Hulk finally figuring out what Ben Cat wants. Maybe it's not a fight or power or anything grand. Maybe he just wants his favorite spot in the sun and a good chin scratch. The climax could be She-Hulk, instead of landing a final punch, just sitting down next to him and giving him a gentle scratch behind his massive ears. And for the first time, the incredible Ben Cat lets out a rumbling, earth-shaking purr of contentment. He wouldn't become a hero. He wouldn't suddenly become articulate. He'd still be Ben, grumpy, monosyllabic Ben, but he'd be her grumpy, monosyllabic Ben. This is more than just a meme. It's a concept bursting with heart, humor, and spectacular action. It's a story about two iconic characters from wildly different universes finding a strange, dysfunctional, but ultimately endearing connection. It plays on everything we love about She-Hulk's world and everything we find hilarious about Ben Cat's internet persona. It's the ultimate odd couple, a buddy cop movie on a scale we've never seen before. Honestly, I think we all need to see this happen. Hollywood, Marvel, Internet, are you listening? The world is ready for She-Hulk and the incredible Ben Cat. Make it happen. What do you guys think? Let me know your ideas for this crossover in the comments below. I'd love to read them. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the best ideas the Internet has to offer. See ya!